Hey everybody, Real Comic Stacks, and I'm checking out Star Wars Age of the Republic Darth Maul, and this is a little bit older one. Missed it when it first came out, but let's go ahead and knock out a video for it. I've already knocked out Qui-Gon Jinn, Obi-Wan, and Jango Fett. I'm going to link those probably in a little tab that'll pop up somewhere around this area. You can go check that out. Qui-Gon Jinn by far has been my favorite so far. That one, just the storyline in it was really good, talking about his vision of the downfall of the Jedi Order and what was going to lead to it, and him bringing that to the council. I thought it was really cool. So Darth Maul, this one's not bad. It's they continue on the same. I would say you get that, you have like kind of that line where it's either a good comic or it's a bad comic, and this has managed to stay on the upward trend. They've all been good. The art in them has been good. The storytelling's been good. I haven't had any real big complaints out of any of this so far. So this one begins with Darth Maul, and Darth Maul is playing basically his underworld games. He has he's lined up this guy to work with. They're pulling a job, and he set it up with him because he's heard of his success, and he suspects that he is he's using the Force in some way. And everything in this is set up by Darth Maul. He's making all the spice deal, the points of contact, everything he is manipulating to his advantage, and to play this game with this Jedi. And when the individuals do show up, he immediately attacks them. He watches this guy very carefully to see what he's doing, and he can feel it. He can sense the Force moving around him. He can feel how clumsy he is with it and how he lacks training, but he can sense the Force and its potential within him. And I just did this book. It's horrible. The podcast is much better. But when it's all said and done, he has one last test for him, and that's to find the goods, basically, where they're hidden. And he reaches out with the Force. He feels it and he grabs it, and for that he hands it over, and he says, "Hey, maybe we can work together again sometime." And Darth Maul walks off, and before he's done, though, he kills the guy. He doesn't use the lightsaber because he knows that would draw attention. And with that, he ends this dude, and he shows up, and Darth Sidious, the Emperor, is just, calling him foolish. He is telling him how he risked drawing attention to the Jedi in a time where they can ill afford to draw any attention with everything they're trying to pull off. And it doesn't make any sense that Darth Maul would be doing this, because it doesn't satisfy his bloodlust. And he's told as much. He's like, what good are you doing, slaughtering Jedi scraps? And you're putting so much at risk for no good reason. And Darth Maul, he goes off on his, I will not be satisfied until the whole Jedi Order is, in ash. And Darth Sidious loads him up, says, "Hey, we're going for a ride, hop in the car." "I don't want to go, get in the car, we're going." Takes him to Malachor, and on Malachor, he shows him a battle from long ago where the Sith were slaughtered, and in this, he says there's one more lesson, and he tells them to basically breathe, and has them go and breathe in some of the ash, and he has a vision. Now, this to me, the visions have been very interesting in both this one and Qui-Gon's, because you have to think, what is the vision actually trying to tell a person? In Qui-Gon's, it had to do with what was going to cause the fall of the Jedi, or at least contribute to it. In this one, I'm kind of confused by it, because I believe in a way it's showing this to Darth Maul to show him that the Jedi weren't that bad. They weren't bad. They were actually a force of good, but he can't see past his blind hatred. So what you have here is he's actually in Jedi robes. He's a Jedi, and then he is faced with this beast that comes out after this kid's family, and he instantly snaps into action. He destroys kills the beast. The little horned child is pleased, and then next, Darth Maul's freaking out because he's at the dinner table with these guys. And one of it looks like the wife is saying, "We can't thank you enough, Master Jedi, if you hadn't been passing by." And the kid looks over and says, "The Jedi are always right where they need to be, and that's why they're the greatest warriors." And Darth Maul starts freaking out. I'm no Jedi, and he flips out. He loses it. But there was nothing here that really would have led to that. If anything, it's showing that the Jedi did good in saving this family, and but blinded by his anger, his hatred of the Jedi, he just believes they're a lie. They're a lie, told to a desperate galaxy, and he will be the instrument and the tool that will end this lie. At that point, after he slaughtered this family, he's sitting around, and lightsabers start cutting on all around him. He's surrounded, and that is when Darth Sidious starts clapping and asks him, "Tell me, my apprentice, what did you see?" And he explains, "I saw many things, but what have you learned?" And that is where he says, my rage, it fuels me. It fuels us. But it is not enough to stop the Jedi alone. Their numbers are too they have far too many Jedi. And and they have the faith of the Republic. So my rage, no matter how hot it burns, cannot defeat the Jedi alone. And Darth Sidious explains that's why he's planning so carefully. That emotions do make us strong, but they have to meet with patience. And they do run kind of contrary to the passions of the Sith, but if you act without thinking and without a plan, you will never rise. And he reminds them that anger is a tool. It is not your master. And Darth Maul just says, "No, you are." And that's it. So this is interesting because I've been thinking a lot about the Force lately, because I look at it and I look through it the lens of my beliefs, and how when you try to apply a balance to the Force, how there is such thing as righteous anger, there is such thing as loss and grief and all these things, and fear that we can't let run our lives. And anytime we give in to something on that sinful side, it leans the scales away from our righteousness or light side. And for this one, it's obvious that hate and anger that's something I struggle with personally. You know, being a father, my job, a lot of the stuff I deal with day to day, I deal with having to control that. But in this, it's obvious that Darth Maul is completely blinded by it to the point where he cannot see good that is done by the Jedi. The saving that family, there was, you know, unless, you know, the Sith, I guess they don't believe in families, but I don't know. You go back into Legends, and some of the relationships in there were, I can't remember a guy's name right off the top of my head, but he ended up, yeah, I guess that's a pretty poor example. There's no good Sith examples, so I can't support it. But that's just thinking more and more about that balance between the in all things, is how do you balance that on a personal level. But guys, that's really all I got. Make sure you hit subscribe if you haven't. Appreciate a like, and thanks for stopping by and checking it out. Hope you like this book. These Age of the Republic books are going to continue to come out. They have several coming out, including an Anakin Skywalker one, a Padme Amidala one, a special that includes, I think, Mace Windu and a couple others in it. So keep an eye out for them. They're well worth picking up, guys. Real Comic Stacks. Out.